Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the BIPAC Monday Brew, once again on location, this time in California. Well, we again have another action packed week coming forward on politics in preparation for the midterm elections. Another state has entered the redistricting wars. It looks like now that the state of North Carolina will redraw its map with the intent of gaining one more Republican seat. And North Carolina is an interesting state in redistricting. Since 2010, no state has been redrawn more than North Carolina because the legislature, and they're the only ones with the power to redraw maps, the governor has no veto over redistricting in North Carolina. And the legislature, the Republican legislature, and the Democratic state Supreme Court were in an eternal battle over the lines. And so that resulted in multiple lines, boundaries for the congressional districts being drawn in North Carolina from 2010 to the present time. Well, that ended really in 2022 when the Republicans took the majority on the state Supreme Court, and that unified the approach to how the racially balanced districts are drawn in the state. And so the Republicans now have 10 Republicans in the state of the 14 districts, but they think they can push that and actually draw a new map that would endanger Congressman Don Davis in the first district and make that a Republican seat. It's probably easy to do, and we'll see if that stands the tests that are coming forth on redistricting. We have two states that are complete with new maps, Texas and now Missouri. And North Carolina looks like they will draw a new map soon. So there's multiple states involved in this redistricting situation, which could very well determine which party will control the House when the new Congress begins in 2027. So that's how important this redistricting battle is. It will definitely give the party that comes out on top in redistricting a big advantage toward claiming the majority in the next election. So we'll see how all of this unfolds. The big shoe to drop: how will the U.S. Supreme Court rule on the Louisiana redistricting case that's before them? They didn't rule on it in the last session. Instead, they want further oral arguments. Those will occur on October the 15th, and this could be a landmark racial gerrymandering decision by the Supreme Court when they eventually rule on the Louisiana case. So with that, that we kind of wrap up where we are on redistricting. Extremely important for this 2026 election cycle. So we turn to some more House news, and we have a special election primary coming up this week on Tuesday, October the 7th, with the Tennessee seat. So Congressman Mark Green resigned the seat earlier in the year in July to take a position in the private sector. Both parties are going after this seat very hard. It is a very crowded field on both sides. And up until recently here, both parties featured three state representatives in their primary. But when President Trump came out and endorsed the former Tennessee Cabinet Secretary Matt Van Epps, one of those state representatives, Lee Reeves, dropped out of the race and endorsed Mr. Van Epps. However, his name will still be on the ballot. So very crowded fields, both by Democrats and Republicans, each party with multiple state representatives running. So we'll see what happens. This should remain in the Republican hands. President Trump received 56% of the vote. Congressman Green was reelected with 60%. And it's less Republican based on the last redistricting, but it still should be enough to carry the Republicans into the special general election on December the 2nd, with regardless of who their nominees turn out to be. But this will be a race to watch, because if the Democrats pull an upset, and they believe they can, that could send a big signal as to what could happen in the 2026 midterm elections. Also in the House, you may remember former Congresswoman Cori Bush. She was a member of Alexandria Ocasio Cortez's squad, informal organization within the House Democratic Conference. She was defeated for reelection in the Democratic primary in 2024 by now Congressman Wesley Bell, but she announced she will return for a rematch in St. Louis. And that will be a definite race to watch on the Democratic side in that primary. It won't be until August the 4th. So that campaign will have a long time to form itself. And that's the way things stand right now as we head into this first full week of October in 2025. With that, I will see you next week on another edition of the BIPAC Monday Brew.